you kind of introduce yourself, let our viewers know who you are, what you do. What is something that you survived? What is the baseline of your story?
So, so before I say everything I survived, which I think a lot of people that are watching know, but for people that don't know, my name is Kailyn Dill. I am a 30-year-old boy mom. So I have two boys. They are 9 and 12. They are going into those tween years. So I'm like stressed out with them. I'm a professional makeup artist, and I'm also a leader and a beauty influencer with a social media-based company called Pharmacy. So basically, I play with makeup all day, which has actually helped me heal. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that later too. When you are healing, finding something that you're passionate about is so important because it gives you something to focus on. So for me, my career really helped me. And I have survived drug addiction. I've been sober for 5 years, 5.5 now. And my life looks completely different than it did 5 years ago. I mean, I as a person look completely different than I did 5 years ago. So
yes,
yeah, now I'm thriving. Yeah.
So I want to ask you a few questions that will kind of just lead in to, you can, feel free to share whatever you want to share.
Yeah.
When was it that you realized something needs to change?
So I feel like I realized that something needed to change way before it actually changed. Does that make sense? I think that finally enough was enough for me, which I'll talk a little bit about that. But, for me in addiction, it wasn't like I just started using drugs and a week later I was like, oh, things are getting really bad. This was almost a decade-long process for me. I started using drugs at a young age in high school at 15 years old. So this was, and I got sober around 25. So this was literally a decade-long process. So for me, me and my husband, he was my boyfriend then, we used together. We were homeless together. So I think when we were homeless and we were literally like having Christmas in a hotel with our kids, like I think for us, that was like, okay, this is it. But drugs are a powerful thing. And when you're, stuck in that cycle of addiction, it's kind of hard to make a change. So for me, when I actually made a change, I was very suicidal, and I tried to take my own life. And I think for me, that was it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that was enough for me to want to change. So does that make sense? I knew I needed to change for years before, but I think that was enough for me.
Do you think that was like your rock bottom moment?
Yes, because I tell people all the time, like everyone's rock bottom looks different. And for me, I was in jails, I was in recovery houses, I was in so many rehabs. And for some reason, those weren't enough of a bottom for me. Like I look back now and I'm like, how was that not a bottom? But for me, something about being so sick that I wanted to take my own life. I think that was being a mother. I think that was when, that was it for me. So
wow. Yeah. I did not know that you were in jail.
Yeah, a couple times. Like 5 months here, 8 months there, 3 months here. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, Kailyn. Yeah. How did you go from struggling to thriving now? What was the main thing that allowed you to do it? Was it makeup? Was it Pharmacy that really helped you move forward in that?
Yeah, so I think it's a mixture. It was a mixture of things. And I don't want to sound like cliche, but like I think God and the universe did it for me. Like I think that I literally have no other explanation. Like I said, this was my first and only ever suicide attempt. So I think just, I mean, it was so bad, Michelle, that like my mom and my kids didn't think I was going to make it. Like they were coming to say goodbye. So I think it was just, that was God's way of being like, girl, like, do you see how worthy you are and how bright of a future you have, and honestly, just embracing the journey really. And, early recovery can be hard. You are literally teaching yourself to live in a way that you have no idea how to, so, early recovery was definitely hard. I'm getting like so off topic off of the question.
No. This is your time. I want you to share whatever
and everyone knows I love to talk, especially about this, just because, it's just, I'm just about proud of it. But, just really, just embracing early recovery. And it's hard, but you have to take it step by step, and celebrate the little wins. And I think for me, every little win, whether it was just getting a job, because I hadn't really had a job in years, you know? So little things like just getting sober and getting a job, or getting a car, just little things. I think that's what helped me push farther and farther, because those are things that I could never have in recovery, you know, or if I did, it'd be getting repoed or I'd be getting kicked out. So yeah, so I hope that answered that question.
Yes.
I'm
curious, what was your first step after you were in the hospital?
So, okay, so I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and, you know, like I said, I used with my now husband. So a big thing for us was, I think that we needed that time apart, even though it was under some really crappy circumstances, because he needed to get clean too, because we knew that there was no way we could stay together. So he got clean. And when I got out of the hospital, it was really just resting for a little bit. I was really sick. I was really skinny. For me, it was about getting healthy again. So I think I gave myself about a month. I, you know, went to meetings. I completely cut off everybody I had talked to previously, deleted numbers out of my phone, you know, like I literally shut myself off from the world for about a month, I think. And then I got a job, and I think getting a job was like, it was just such a huge win for me, you know. So,
what was your job?
It was serving at Quaker Steak and Lube. I don't know if you know where that is in New York.
Yes, I do.
But it was perfect for me. You know, it was perfect for me. I got to be around people again. I got to feel like a member of society again, and then doing things in the right way. So yeah, and then from there, you know, I saved up, I got a car, and then we got an apartment. So it's literally like just setting little goals was so important for me. So important for me. And then, you know, I found the beauty industry and makeup, and it was all history from there. I really think that my job has helped me stay sober. Truly. Truly.
But you know what? You were willing to start wherever you had to start. And I think people need to know that in your healing journey, it's not going to look pretty.
No.
You're going to have to start.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I was just saying, especially in the beginning. It's the beginning is when it's the messiest, it's the scariest, it's the hardest, you know, but it gets easier with time, and that's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah, we have to be willing to start from the bottom. We have to be willing to, whatever, you know, your job, you were willing to go serve people, and that is such a humbling place to be at, and being grateful for the job that you can get. I remember my first job when I got home from Dallas. I was taking care of a woman that had MS, and I kind of just like fell into this job, but I didn't realize just how crucial that time period of my life was in my healing, taking care of this lady. And so like later down, I'm like, wow, like I'm really grateful for those humbling moments. I'm really grateful for those times that even though I wasn't doing the job that I necessarily wanted, I think serving people really helps you heal too. It helps you kind of step outside of yourself and just help others. It's a very powerful thing.
It is, and I think that's what keeps me going too, honestly. So, you know, with the company I work with, pharmacy, like that's what I do, is I help women find success, and you know, even just through social media with women in recovery. And that is like, for me, that makes me feel almost more proud than my own sobriety. You know what I mean? Like helping other women. And it's almost like you feel like responsible now. Like I need to set a good example, and I need to continue to be sober, not only for myself, not only for my family, but for others out there too, you know? So yeah, you're so right about that.
Yeah.
So right.
Can you share with us a little bit more about what you do now?
So do you mean just like in my recovery, or just...
in your business? Let's talk about your business, what your business that you're doing now. It's amazing.
So many people are against social selling, but I do work in like a social selling network marketing industry. But which basically,
is booming, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so much fun. So basically, I have a team of women. I have a team of, I don't even know where they're at now. 4,000 people, 5,000 people. They've grown so huge.
Oh my God.
I work with women, and I teach them, you know, how to be successful in a business. Our company, we have wellness products, you know, makeup products. So you don't have to be good at makeup. But yeah, I just coach them and teach them and guide them. Most people don't know what the heck they're doing, but I didn't know what I was doing when I started. But it's helped me, like I said, it's helped me so much in my journey and so much with my recovery, because it's something I'm passionate about. You know, I think it's so crucial for anyone in life, whether you're dealing with trauma or not, to find something that you love. You know, I say it all the time and I preach it, but life is too damn short. It is. It's too damn short to be unhappy all the time. So even, you know, if you're doing something that you don't like, find a side hobby or something. I mean, art or music things, or, you know, I know people like to collect rocks and crystals, literally whatever makes you happy. It's going to help you in your healing journey so much. So, you know, this has really helped me. And then financially, it's really helped me as well, which, you know, after being a college dropout, I went to college for 1 semester and I dropped out because I thought that drugs were more important. I didn't have a lot of options for a career, you know. I barely made it through high school because of my drug use. So for me, it's almost like that much sweeter that I found success, because I literally came from nothing, literally, you know. So it just proves that our past don't define us. It's called stepping out of our comfort zone, because it doesn't feel safe and secure to us. But if I could say one thing, it's that you're never going to feel ready when it comes to trying something new, no matter what it is. You're never truly going to feel ready until you take that first step. You know, for me, I was terrified. Like I said, I had no experience with anything like this. The only experience I had was waiting tables. I had no beauty experience. I had really not a lot of social media experience, you know, just besides posting. But for me, it was knowing that I deserved better. I deserved better than, you know, the weight. Nothing's wrong with serving. But for me, I just knew that wasn't where my life was destined to go. So for me, I think it was just taking that first step. It's so scary, but once you take that first step, no matter what it may be, I promise it gets easier and easier. And nobody knows what they're doing at first. You know, that's the point of growth. And I think too, and then I'll shut up, I swear.
No, you're right.
I think too, so many people are scared of failure. I think that's just a number one thing. And what people don't get is that success is built on failure. You don't get better at anything unless you fail and you mess up. And, you know, sometimes it kind of stinks, but that's how we really figure out who we are and what we're meant to be, is by trying new things, failing, getting better, trying something else. So I think for me, it was I just knew I deserved better. And I don't know what happened. It was like 12 o'clock at night and I went downstairs and I was like, Dustin, I'm starting a makeup business. And he was like, okay. He's always
he was supportive. I love that.
He has always been supportive, but I will say in the beginning, I think he was doubtful, like anybody. You know, if your wife comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm going to sell makeup online," you're like, but he supported me. He believed in me, and I think that the only reason I've gotten so far is because I believed in myself. You know what I mean? I had a vision. I knew what I wanted my life to look like, and I believed in myself, and I truly believe that's what's taken me so far. So
that's amazing, Kailyn. I have a very personal question.
Yeah.
It's kind of deep, but I just, you know, in me talking about healing journey and thriving through pain, was there something in particular that you found triggered the drug addiction, or was it just you tried it and you got hooked? Like what? And then if there was a trigger, or if there was kind of something that you were using drugs to kind of numb the pain from,
right?
You don't have to share if you don't want to what exactly it was, but how, because we will always have memories and triggers and feelings. You know, they say that your body always remembers feelings. So even if, like, you're fine, let's say you have a smell or a certain thing that you see that reminds you of, it's PTSD, reminds you of that past experience, you might be okay, but your body is automatically going to, you know, go into reaction mode. So I think that that's something hard for people when they're people that have dealt with trauma and pain. You know, you will always kind of have that memory, but then learning, you know, how to cope and how to deal with those memories, so then you don't turn back to old unhealthy habits or void fillers, you know. So what do you have to say about that, Kailyn? Like, can you relate to that, and if so, what exactly is it?
So I think as far as starting using, Because you asked, like, you know, did it just happen? I tried drugs and did I just get addicted or what? So addiction runs in my family. Let me back it up and say that. I truly, truly believe that it is a disease that is passed down. You know, my mom is a drug addict. It runs, you know, my grandpa, my uncles all died of alcoholism. So I think for me, I was kind of set up for failure in the sense of if I was going to try an addictive drug, I would be more addicted than the average person, you know? So that's what I tried drugs just when I was, you know, 15 because of the people I was hanging around. Like I can identify that. But it took me a long time, and I just recently kind of realized why I used for so long. And I think it was honestly because I felt like I fit in somewhere, you know, I was, even though these people I was hanging out with, they weren't my friends, you know, they weren't my real friends, but I think deep down it was that I finally just felt like I belonged somewhere, you know, and unfortunately that place was with drugs. And as far as triggers and stuff, there are places that I try to stay away from because, you know, for me, I tell people that you could literally hold drugs in front of me and I would be like, girl, bye. Like I'm that rock solid in my sobriety. Now, I don't ever want to say, oh, I'll never use again because I don't think it's healthy to think like that. But I mean, I am so rock solid in my recovery. But there's still things that like make me queasy, you know? One of them is like seeing drug paraphernalia. Like if I look on a phone and I'm scrolling past and like I see, like I have to scroll right past it. Not that it would trigger me to go out and use, but it just gives me an uneasy feeling in my stomach, you know? Just like certain people, I had to completely cut off people because I know that they're triggers for me. So I think with all trauma, you're going to have triggers. It's really about figuring out how the best way for you to cope with them. You know, some people are better off facing them head on. For me, I don't know if it's healthy, but I kind of just like turn my head and avoid them because it's not something that makes me feel good. And I'm all about, you know, surrounding myself with people and things that make me feel good. So so did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Okay, cool.
And girl, I had only planned for 3 questions, but you know, I just have so much I want to talk about.
Okay, babe.
There's just so many layers here that is just so powerful, Kailyn.
Aww,
and
thank you.
So one of the questions, and this kind of ties in. What was the hardest moment or valley that you faced when trying to make the changes you needed to make to set yourself up for healing, sobriety, and success? But I'm going to go a little bit deeper with that.
Yeah.
So there's this book called The Dream Giver by Bruce Wilkinson, one of my favorite books. And he shares that when you are getting ready, you're at like the border and you're getting ready to jump on over to doing the things that you know you're called to do, there will always be border bullies. And usually, and usually it is the people closest to you, family and friends that have known you for a long time. And then tying into that, a reason for that can be that people that have known you through your dark moments sometimes have a hard time accepting the new you, the healed you, the better you, you know, the thriving you. And unfortunately, you might lose people that were close to you. And it can be really discouraging when they stand kind of at that border, reminding you of your past and reminding you of who they continue to think you are, not who you really are now, right? So I know that's a lot kind of coming together, but what was your hardest moment and valley that you faced when trying to make these changes? And did you find that you had like border bullies in your life? Did you find that family or friends were not accepting the sober you?
Yeah, so I think that a lot, like you said, a lot of people deal with that. For me, it was family. I'm not going to like name names or, you know, like your point. But for me, it was family. And I think too, it's because a lot of the time I think that they get threatened that they're not going to have access to this new you know? And I think that it's kind of sounds mean and deep, but it's the truth. A lot of times, I think it's their own insecurities and their own fears, you know, feeling like they're going to lose you or, you know, that they're not going to be able to maybe treat you the same way that they did. But I am like such a firm believer. You probably see me post about it all the time. I think that everything happens for a reason. I think that God removes people from our lives for a reason. And sometimes it's family. I had to cut off my own mother for months at a time because of her addiction. And that, it's hard. That is my mom. Like it's been so hard for me, but sometimes I know that this point in my life, that she's not meant to be in it right now, and it doesn't have to be forever. You know, with these bullies, it doesn't have to be forever. But sometimes you have to ask yourself, okay, is my success, is my life, is my happiness more important than this person's feelings? You know, because you're so right, and it happens a lot early on in our, you know, like recovery or healing. That it happens. And I say all the time, like, new levels bring new devils, because they do. Whenever you're about to level up in life, I preach it all the time. Whenever you're about to level up in life, God and the devil, it's not even God, it's the devil. They're going to throw things at you that you feel like you can't get past. But again, this is teaching you how to grow and teaching you how to be better. So sometimes that's people, you know, and sometimes you have to step away. But that's your choice. I'm not telling everyone to cut off their bullies. But personally, for me, that's what I had to do with, you know, with my mom and then some other people too. So, yeah, it's normal, and it stinks that it's normal, but it happens. So,
do you have any mentors in your life, or people that have like really been pivotal in your journey? Because it sounds like you have been surrounded by environments that were really hard for you. So do you have anybody that has been with you along the journey, or do you have someone that you personally look up to that helps you? Because not everyone has a mentor in their life. So what do you have to say to people that don't have that mentor that they can turn to in their healing journey?
Right. So I personally, I couldn't look at you and say, like, I have a personal one-person mentor. I wish I did, but it's just not something that's happened in my recovery. I feel like anyone who inspires me, like I find a lot of women on social media who inspire me. Anyone who inspires me, I try to like take any piece of value that I can from them. I've tried really hard to surround myself with positive women, other women in recovery. There's some women that are less than a year sober that I really look up to. So it kind of just depends. So for people that don't have a mentor, like myself, I would say, you know, just find people who inspire you. People, when you look at them and you're like, wow, I really would love my life to look like that. Or, you know, I really love the way she looks at life. I mean, you know, I would love to look at life like that. You know, talk to them, message them, ask them to get on a call, take whatever value you can, because most of the time those people want to help, and that's what they're here for, you know? So that's kind of how I've done it. Like I said, I did go to meetings in the beginning, and like I'm not going to really talk about AA. I don't really go to AA anymore. But you know, you can have a sponsor, and I just never found anyone that I connected with. So,
I think knowing that we have to look at hard situations almost like not necessarily a positive way, but not just like this horrible thing that like, woe is me. And like what you were saying earlier, new levels, new devils. Like it is true that you will struggle. Anytime you try to rise above anything, anytime you try to better yourself, you try to grow, it is not going to be easy. And I think like learning how to thrive and push through pain, in a sense, like push through those hard times, and knowing that there is going to be a light at the end of this tunnel, and you're going to come out stronger, wiser, better than you were before. When I think people freak out when they start to kind of have that resistance in their life. And they freak out, but like, you know, they start to lose people. They start to find themselves in a season of solitude, you know? And did you have a season of solitude?
Like I feel like, like I said, definitely, like by season of solitude, do you mean like a hard season? Like what do you mean by that?
Meaning that when you noticed that you were very alone, that like you were pulled away, not like kind of like isolation, you know? I think we all have to go through that season of solitude at one time in our life, and there's so much that you can learn while being alone, and alone with yourself and alone with God. And did you find that you did, I know you said that you put up those boundaries with people in your life and did have to cut certain people, but did you find that people left you and that you felt that you were alone?
Absolutely. So I know I keep talking about, early recovery, the first year of recovery, but I think that was just such a
Yes.
pivotal year for me. I felt really lonely. I felt like, all my life, I thought these people were my real friends when no, they were just, drug friends.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had multiple seasons of solitude. I don't know if that's like a thing, but
Yeah,
I've had multiple seasons over the last 5 years where I felt lonely. But I almost feel like that was the universe teaching me how to love myself, how to learn to be okay with myself. I feel like I've always been a super codependent person on other people, on things. So I think for me, those seasons of solitude helped me grow because they taught me to learn to be okay with myself. I always say, like, if you can't stand sitting in a room by yourself in the quiet for more than 5 minutes, then you have some stuff to work on, because some people just can't stand being alone, and most likely that's why,
Yeah,
So.
I like how you mentioned codependency. And even if you haven't been through a lot of hard things in life, like codependency is actually very common in people.
Oh, very common. Mm-hmm.
And it actually blows my mind how many people cannot be alone.
Right.
How people really do struggle with that. And it's a real struggle, And but if you're watching this and you are someone that's like, oh, I've never eaten alone at a restaurant, or I've never been alone or traveled alone, I highly encourage you to do it, because it is so freeing when you're able to just be with yourself and you love yourself enough to where you don't need to have people talking to you. And it's such a time where you can just really breathe and you have so much clarity. So even if, like, I remember when I used to take myself out to like sushi, because I used to struggle with like being alone. And I mean, this was like maybe 6-7 years ago, but I remember, like, I heard this by somebody. They said, you need to take yourself out on a date. I was like, that's so weird. I did it. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so uncomfortable. But like, I needed to be okay with Michelle, and so it's really important to get to that place where you're able to separate yourself from that codependency with other people and become, the independent person that you're capable of being.
Yeah, so. Even like my husband and I, like, obviously I'm not alone per se, I'm married, but we still like try to give each other that space. You know what I mean? Because we know how important it is. And even like with trips, like when, I'll take trips for work and I could very well bring him with me. But sometimes you need that time apart. So even though I am in a relationship, it's still super important, I think, to practice self-love and being okay by yourself, because you never know what could happen, and you never know when you would end up alone,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It is very important with you and your partner to spend time separate as well. That is healthy. I 100%.
Yeah, absolutely is.
All right. So I want to ask you, what would you say to our listeners today that are struggling to shift from surviving to thriving?
So without setting those little goals for myself, I don't know that I would have ever stayed sober, because you need something to feel proud of yourself for and to work towards, and then lastly, just knowing that you are enough, knowing that you're worthy of this life that you want, and believing that you can have it, and it's easier said than done. There's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations. There's going to be a lot of tests thrown your way. But if you just keep your eye on the prize, meaning, if you just keep envisioning what you want for your life, feel that pain. Sometimes, like, I have to recheck myself and sit and think of what I went through. I think sometimes I get a little too comfortable in my recovery, and I'm like, okay, girl, back it up. Like, look at where you were, 5 years ago. So really just self-reflecting, never forgetting where you came from. But always excited about the future. I think that it's a mix of everything. It's a lot of self-growth, learning how to thrive. It's a lot of self-growth and self-reflection and getting honest with yourself. And it can be painful sometimes, but those are all the things that have helped me and helped me become so strong in my sobriety. So
that's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I love you.
It's amazing. I love you too. And it's amazing what you're doing. You are a wife, You are a mother. You are thriving in your business. You are just doing amazing in your life. And I just really believe that this is going to empower more people when they watch this. And keep doing what you're doing, girl. It's amazing.
And I'm so proud of you too. Let's not forget
Thank you.
about how much you are.
Thank
You're
you,
amazing
girl.
for doing this. Thank you for having me. I feel honored.
And I want people to know how they can reach out to you. So give us your Instagram handle, any other information you want our viewers to know.
So Instagram is just Kailyn Dill. So I think I'm on this live. I think my name is on this live.
Yes.
And then Facebook, it's Beauty by Kailyn. So Beauty by Kailyn. And it's like a beauty page. So
And you have TikTok too?
Yes,
TikTok?
I do have TikTok. I think it's Beauty by Kailyn as well. So Kailyn. So
Okay.
Facebook and TikTok, Beauty by Kailyn. Instagram, Kailyn Dill.
Okay, awesome. And I'm going to be posting this on my page. I'm going to see if I can send it to you too if you want to post it as well.
Yeah.
So guys, please watch this. Please share it. Please go follow Kailyn in her journey because this is literally just the beginning for her. So we want to be the biggest support system we can for her in her journey. And also lastly, guys, if you don't know about my book, Girl Thriving, this is what's inspiring these little interviews is this journal will walk you through step by step of your healing process. So if you are getting ready to start your healing process, you don't know where to start, or you're just kind of revamping it, I think we're always healing from something, right?
Always.
This journal can walk you through that, okay? You can go ahead and click the link in my bio. You can buy it on Amazon. And thank you for watching, guys. Really, really appreciate it. I hope this empowered you today. And I love you, girl. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I love you too.
Mwah. Bye.